Hey there, today's video is on the top 10 pros of living in Utah. So if you want to know what the good things are of actually living in Utah, then stay tuned. Make sure that you stick around to number one on my list because it's my favorite reason for living in Utah. As a licensed real estate in the state of Utah, I really love making these videos for you guys. And if you're considering moving to Utah, please reach out to me via phone, text, email. I'd love to help you relocate here. On to the pros of living in Utah. So I put together a list of the top 10 pros of living in Utah. Pro number 10 on the list is it's easy to get a job, and there's a lot of companies here that are hiring. So you have the tech area in Lehigh called Silicon Slopes. Major industries here in Utah are healthcare, finance, outdoor recreation companies, and tons of other companies. So, whether you're in the schooling district, a nurse, whatever your field of interest is, Utah has jobs in that area. The unemployment rating here in the state of Utah sits at a 2.5%, which ranks in the top 5 of all states in the nation. I think we're sitting at number 3 right now on the list. Pro number 9 of living in Utah is going to be the weather. So while some people think the weather's a con, Utah has all 4 seasons and different weather depending upon which area of Utah you want to live. For instance, St. George in the hurricane area, which is right at the Nevada border, it's hotter, it's less cold in the winter, doesn't snow as much, snows very little in the wintertime, but that area is growing massively. You have the Salt Lake City area where I'm currently at, where it's warm, it's kind of hot. Typically, we get a week or two, maybe where it's 100, 105, 107 in that range. Winters are a little colder than down south. We get more snow. We get about 4 feet of snow total for the wintertime. And then northern Utah, it's even colder and even more snow that you get to deal with. And then you have Moab that's out east, and that has a completely different thing as well. And I'm going to talk about the different areas here as pro number 8. So, pro number 8, there are 4 distinct areas of Utah that I like to talk about. You have southern Utah, that's where St. George and Hurricane are located. We actually rented an Airbnb there twice this summer so that we can hang out in the heat and play with the pool and do all of the things that you could do down there. You have the Sand Hollow State Park is down there. Zion National Park is super close. The Grand Canyon is close. And even Bryce Canyon is relatively close to you in the St. George area. It is hot. It was over 100 degrees every day. I think it was 105, 108 when we were down there, which felt great to get in the pool. And you could use the pool at night, that sort of thing. It was super, super fun to go down there. But it doesn't get as cold in the wintertime. Fall and spring are amazing in the St. George area. Salt Lake City, that's the main area where most of the population lives. You're either going to live in Utah County or Salt Lake County for the most part, but that's where the majority of the people live. There are 14 ski resorts that are around here that you can go to, Park City being the number 1 ski resort, but they're all world-class skiing and snowboarding that you can do in the Salt Lake City area, as well as there are a number of different towns. And that's one of the reasons you're going to reach out to me to talk about what type of feeling are you looking for. When we relocated here, we first moved to Riverton, and now we live in Harriman. So they have a different feel for each of the cities, and they all have a pro and a con to living in them. And I have some videos on those as well that you can watch of the different areas. Then you have the Moab area. Moab is east. So if you are a 4x4 fan like I am, where I have a Jeep and I take it 4-wheeling, I go there for Easter Jeep Safari in April every year. It is awesome. They have Arches National Park that's there in Moab, and Moab kind of has a sort of hippie kind of vibe to it. It's changing as more and more people move there, but it has that feeling, and the landscape around it is incredible with the red rock and all the trails that you can go do from your hiking and your four-wheeling. It's awesome. Northern Utah, it's older, knows more, not as many people. You're close to Idaho. I don't know. It just depends what kind of weather you want. Whether you want a little bit more land and you want to be away from people, then the northern Utah could be a great area for you. Or if you're coming from areas where it's really, really cold and you like the cold, then that would be a great area. It has much milder spring and fall time, so that's probably their best time of year. The northern Utah area from late spring all the way through early fall is super nice. It just isn't as warm as it would be in the southern Utah areas. Pro number 7 on my list of living in Utah is going to be Utah is a conservative state. Utah is a red state. So while this is a con for half of the population that are moving to Utah, it's a pro for the other half. So if you're thinking of moving to Utah, just know that it's conservative and it has very relaxed gun laws and that sort of thing. You're going to need to look that stuff up online and make sure that you're okay with that moving here. It's not anything extreme. You're going to find half of the people are one way, half of the people are another. But if that's important to you, you need to let me know. Reach out and we can talk about the different areas. Some areas are way more conservative than other areas. When you're in the Salt Lake City area, that's going to be the least conservative areas of everywhere in Utah. And it has a really good mix, I think, in Salt Lake County as far as that goes. Pro number 6 of living in Utah is going to be the income and corporate tax rates. They are 4.65% flat tax. This just changed January of 2023 from a 4.85%. So if you are running a business or you want to know about your personal income taxes, it's 4.65%. They do tax your Social Security here in Utah, so you're going to need to talk to a CPA if taxes are important to you. But just know that what the income and the corporate tax rate here is flat tax. So it doesn't matter if you earn $1 million or you earn, $50,000, you're going to pay 4.65%. Pro number 5 of living in Utah is going to be your mountain views and your red rocks and all of that. The views in Utah are breathtaking. Whether you go up into the mountains or you're not in the mountains and you're just looking out at the mountains, they are awesome. As you can see here, this is just me driving by on Mountain View Corridor here in the Salt Lake City area, but this is the mountains that I get to look at every single day when I go outside. And then you have tons of different areas of Utah that have different landscapes that you're going to be able to see and make sure that you go out. And then the 5 national parks, which is on my other pro, but those are here in Utah too to see. Pro number 4 is the public transportation here in Utah. So near Salt Lake City has the best public transportation. It's pretty amazing. They have what's called the track system, 3 different lines that you can take that get you all over. Like I can take the red line up in Daybreak all the way into Salt Lake City. So I don't even have to drive if I want to go to downtown. If I want to go to the airport, I can take the track system and get to the airport as well. Or I can get all the way over to Draper, where Draper would be quicker for me to drive. But I could take the tracks all the way around to Draper. So you have that. Then you have what's called the front runner train, and that kind of runs like a north-south. It goes from Provo all the way up into Layton, Ogden area. So you can take that. And then we have buses that are pretty good here to get around in the other areas, where whether you're in north and south Utah, you're going to have really buses and ride shares, Uber and Lyft for your main sources of public transportation. But the Salt Lake City area is awesome. That leads me to pro number 3, and that's our national parks here. We have 5, so we have more than a lot of states have. We have Bryce Canyon, we have Capitol Reef, we have Zion National Park, Arches National Park, and Canyonlands. So we have those that you can look at. There's a number of other parks, like I want to go to Goblin Valley, which is super, super cool looking. That's on my list to go do. There's just a ton of that sort of thing that you're going to be able to do at the national park. So pro number 2 of living in Utah, and this is something we didn't research when we moved here, but I have a child coming up on that age, and that's the great colleges that we have in the state of Utah. They're actually really affordable as well. The University of Utah is, in Salt Lake City. You have the Utah Valley University, where my daughter just graduated with a cooking degree from. They have Weber State. They have BYU. BYU's in Provo. Then they also have BYU in Idaho. Southern Utah University, that's down south. You have Utah Tech University. And Utah even has the second best community college in the country, the Salt Lake Community College, or SLCC, that you'll see. So I didn't even know that, but researching for the video, I found that out. But you're going to have really good schools that you're going to be able to send your children to or attend yourself. Just know that they're here. I told you that I'd share with you my favorite reason for living in Utah, and that's pro number 1, the outdoors. So you probably would have guessed that if you've watched some of my other videos that I really love the outdoors here. Winter sports include, oh, did I mention that we have the best snow on earth here in Utah? Well, we do. We have 14 world-class ski resorts in Utah. You can snow ski, you can snowboard. Know that some of the resorts don't allow snowboarding, so you got to know that. You can snowshoe, you can snowmobile, which that I'm going to do this winter time. You can tube down the mountains both in the wintertime and in the summer. In the summer, you can go up to Park City and they have this area where they do all the Olympic training. Well, you can tube down the mountains and zip line and bobsled there. They have some cool stuff. And then they do these twists and turns and jumps into the water if you're there on the right days. So that's super cool. Those are the main winter sports, but really anything you can do with snow, you can do here in Utah. And then we have plenty of mountains to do it at. Summertime sports include hiking, which is one of my favorite things to do. I really, really like hiking to all the waterfalls and seeing those. I've done like 7 of them so far. They have this flag on the hill here in Harriman that I plan to hike up to. They have camping that you can do. So we've camped up at Strawberry Reservoir, a number of other campsites. You can either reserve campsites online or you can go to some of the ones that are first come, first serve. So you have boating that you can do. You can rock climb, you can mountain bike, pretty much anything in the outdoors you can do here. One of the cool things about living in Utah is it doesn't get dark until 9 or 10 p.m. at night. So you can easily work all day, then go do some sort of outdoor recreation, hit a hike, hit a trail, that sort of thing you can do after work, which is amazing. And then water sports. So we have boating, we have fishing, fly fishing, canoeing, paddleboarding, kayaking. This reminds me that when we first moved here, my daughter, for her birthday, she wanted a float tube down a river. So we went and did that. That was awesome. Took about 2.5 hours, and you just kind of sit in the tube and you just float down the water. It's a great thing to do. I highly recommend it. They have a couple different rivers here with different class rapids. So if you're a kayaker, you can do that. One more thing on fishing. A lot of the areas are going to have their own local pond. So in Harriman, we have the Cove Pond, and then in Riverton, they have the Danny R. Crump Pond, and we go to the Danny R. Crump Pond more than the Harriman Pond. We have better luck catching fish there, but they stock them with trout or catfish and wiper and some other fish, depending upon which areas. But Utah does a really good job of managing all their lakes and rivers. So you can definitely fish here if you're a fisherman. Bonus thing that I wanted to share with you, since it's a pro for sure of living here, and I've flown all over the United States at many different airports. I really, really like the Salt Lake City airport. It's easy to get into, easy to get out of. They have some great food choices there like Shake Shack and Pickup Sticks and Panera Bread if you're there for breakfast. But it's a major air hub for Delta Airlines. So if you're a Delta fan, then this is their hub. You can get direct flights to lots of different areas around the US. Otherwise, you will fly into Phoenix or Las Vegas, and then you can fly everywhere from those 2 cities. But the airport is awesome. It's easy to pick people up. They have a dedicated like cell phone lot that's giant in size, so you don't have to worry about parking, getting there early, waiting for your people. And then they have a decent system where there's numbers and letters out front. You know where you're at, and it's easy to get to. They have like, for instance, we will go to like 7C as the letter. If you went to 7B, then you'd be at the Uber and Lyft pickup area. So you just know that you cross the walkway when you leave the airport and then go down. If you don't cross and you go down, you're going to be at the Uber and Lyft, where I've had family do that, and I've had to explain what they have to do for us to pick them up. But it makes it easy to text your Uber or Lyft driver exactly where you're at when you're in the B section. So if you'd like more information about making that move here to Utah, you want to know some of the areas, some of the cities, please reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Let's talk about the different areas of Utah, and let's get you moved here to Utah because it's amazing. Until next time, be rad.